Okay, life gonna come at you fast. But you know what? You gotta stay ready.
Strong enough, never gave up every time I gave my all. Refuse to fall. Strong enough.
Can't stop, won't stop, keep going, don't stop.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of Real Estate Mastery with your girl, Jessica Myers. I am the deal maker. And today I am joined by none other than the cast of the All Things Entrepreneur podcast. How y'all doing today?
We are
Blessed,
great.
amazing. Blessed.
Awesome.
See, the thing that's awesome about us is that we all got our start in the concept in real estate strategies so that you can master them with ease. So today, I got my team with me, and we're gonna break down the concept of wholesaling and what that means and how you too can parlay that into multi-million-dollar business. So Errol, how's it going?
Blessed. How about yourself?
Oh, I stay living the dream. Can you say who you are and what you're doing?
Okay. So my name is Errol J. Allen. I'm the new kid on the block. I've been in the real estate space for under a decade. I know you're probably wondering why I'm still the new kid on the block. It's because I got started at a very early age. I'm just gonna hold that title until I hit a certain number in the age bracket.
You're gonna forever be the new kid, forever young.
Yep.
That's why I love it. I love the energy. Mo, what we got going? Mo Hustle.
So my name is Monique. They real estate and now doing new construction builds and developments and out here, just living the dream, as you say.
Oh yes, oh yes. What about my girl, superstar Shauna?
I am superstar Shauna with,
DC on John.
and together we are Flippin' Love, the power couple. So I personally got my start in wholesaling about 5, and I thought it was fake, but then I realized it was real. It took me a little bit longer to get started, but made my first deal in 6 months.
Oh wow.
What's up, Flippin' Lovers? It's DC on John. I've been doing wholesaling since 2015, and that's when I started doing real estate the right way. I was doing real estate prior to that, but wholesaling really taught me of how to actually get real estate done the proper way.
So coming from a background in corporate America, I look at wholesaling to be like the internship segue into real estate. Like you want to learn it, but you don't really want to put your money in it and put it up for risk. It's like a low risk investment technique. Can you go into more detail of what exactly is wholesaling?
So pretty much what wholesaling is you're finding off-market properties at a discounted rate, and then you're going to once you put the properties under contract. So you're not actually buying and selling the property. You would actually have to be an agent to do that. You're actually just putting it under contract, and then with the intent to buy, then you assign your interest to another investor with obviously your profit margin in between.
So you get paid in between. Now, is this really worth it? Because it sounds like a lot of work. Like, how am I going to find somebody ready to sell their house? Is this really worth it? Seeing the journey of where we all got our start and where we are now, could there have been a simpler way to get involved in real estate?
I think wholesaling is definitely worth it. It was worth it for me. I watched people make deals that started with me way before me, and I had people on the side telling me, "Oh, that's not real. It's a scam. You shouldn't do it." But then after 6 months, I stayed in there, and I finally got my first deal, and that's when I knew it was really real. And if I stopped at that 3rd month or that 4th month, I would have never been where I was now. I don't think so. I learned all the things that I learned. And I feel like with wholesaling, you learn so many different parts of real estate because some deals may be a short sale. Some deals may be subject to. Some may be a regular purchase and sale. Like, it's just so many things that you learn from wholesaling. You just learn everything.
So what you named, so essentially real estate is the product, right?
Yes.
And there are different strategies within real estate that allow you to win. So what you just named were several strategies within real estate.
Yes, and it's so much more.
So what strategy, so now that you got wholesaling down and that was your entry point, but which strategy do you feel got you the most success up until now?
For me, it was driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is my best friend. I started looking around, like just going through neighborhoods and looking for abandoned properties, looking for properties where the grass is really, really tall, just properties that don't look like the pretty properties on that street, and skip trace them. That's when you find out who's the owner. You find their name, their phone number, their email. You find I was on people's Facebook pages. I was finding their cousin. I used Been Verified. It's just so many things you do to try to find that seller. I found the seller and asked them one simple question: are you interested in selling your property? They say yes, it's a go.
So what you look for were demand generators or indicators that look like something's wrong.
Yes.
And I always like to call them the 5 Ds. Like, you know what? Of these 5 Ds, there will always be death, disaster, divorce, disagreement, and disability. Those 5 Ds, they're always gonna, because, you know, we here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that the Atlanta market is saturated. What do you say?
There's always going to be deals out there.
Yes.
You know, I think one thing when starting out, one of the things that was always repetitive was that there's enough real estate for everybody, right? And I think with Atlanta being such a huge metro area, there's plenty of opportunity. But like you said, there's always going to be circumstances, there's always going to be situations. So people are always going to be in a position to sell for whatever reason. People retire, they may want to move to a different location. So what do they need to do? Sell their home. People pass on, people die. What happens? Someone inherits that property, they may be all the way in California. What do they need to do with the property? They need to sell it. Life may happen and you may fall on hard times. And guess what? You may not be able to afford your mortgage. So what happens? You need to sell your property. So a lot of what we do is really solve problems. But I think a lot of times we get, there's a huge misconception with wholesaling. People look at it, like you said, Shauna, as if it's a scam or, you know, is it really legal? Can you guys? It is. If you think about it, every industry has a wholesale
Aspect to it. Yeah.
right? All the clothes that we're wearing, whatever retailer that we bought it from, they purchased it at wholesale price, marked it up, and sold it to us for a profit. We don't complain about that, right? But at the end of the day, I think, you know, for wholesaling, if you are interested in getting into real estate, any aspect of the business, wholesaling teaches you how to negotiate deals, how to identify opportunity in real estate. So wholesaling really is a great foundation to real estate. No matter what facet of the business that you want to get into, it teaches you how to identify off-market deals, how to identify opportunity, investment opportunity, and in dealing with sellers, having to negotiate and things like that, you really become a master negotiator. So then when you do get into buying Airbnb properties, flipping, buying hotels, whatever it is that you're doing, you have negotiation skills because you know what to look for. So at the end of the day, this gives you the foundation to just take off into whatever you want to.
The sky is the limit. Those transferable skills, that's what you're speaking of. Like
Exactly.
those negotiation tactics. But negotiation tactics that are transferable into anything that you do. Because like you referenced, it doesn't matter the size of the asset. It's just about negotiation. It's about understanding like, hey, there are a few key principles that I can get from wholesaling that can transfer to other things. Because that's like you said, that's how all of us kind of got our start to understand the numbers and an internship. But you, Sion, actually got started in a New York market, which Miami, these large markets. Is it possible to wholesale even in those markets?
It is possible to wholesale in every market that has a large population. I mean, you can even wholesale in an area that has a low population, but you'll have a lot more opportunities where cities have, say, over 100,000 individuals living there or more. New York is a challenge. New York is a brotherhood of sorts, you know, so you have to know who the gatekeepers are. You know, you can get in contact with a homeowner, you know, but they're New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what you want? What you want with my property, man? Like, there's always 10 questions behind it that other folks, not saying that they're naive or not trusting, but New
we're a little friendlier
yeah,
here.
friendly. Yes, definitely friendlier.
For strangers trying to help us.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but in New York, my first deal was actually a probate deal. And you can also wholesale a probate deal. I mean, probate is just the process of acquiring a property after the homeowner has passed away, and there's no will and testament to state whom the asset is passed down to, you know. And then from there, you go into court. You do what's it called when you go into the paper?
Foreclosure, where they put the
public-
announcement.
Publication into the
Yeah.
paper. Yes,
Publication
You
announcement.
publicize it in the paper just to make sure that no one else out there has any interest in the property that's supposed to. Once that time passes, then you know you you have access to it. You know.
Is love transactional?
What is it? It's so good when you loving somebody and somebody loves you back. You know, you want that and somebody loves you back part.
What is love?
I feel like we just opened up the miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you watch tsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
One of Dr. Gino's strengths in his preaching to me is his ability to situate the listener.
Transition is hard. In fact, I dare say that it's one of the most difficult things to do. And I mean, in a real sense, it is so hard that in one it produces fear.
You pick an image that we all can relate to. What do you love most about your practice of African American preaching?
Zora Neale Hurston's Negro expression. When we sing a song, it's sung a lot differently. When we do a dance, it's done a lot differently. When we preach a sermon, it's done a lot differently because we take it through our struggle and we adorn it and beautify it. And we've had to dare to find God and mine hope so that we might be able to know that the trouble that we go through doesn't last always.
Now, I'm gonna ask y'all to flex a little bit. And this isn't for the IRS, but this is just to see, so that people can see what is possible. What is the most that you've been able to transact from wholesaling within a given period of time? We don't have to say a specific deal, but let's say within 90 days, what has been the most in any one 90-day period, just so that people can understand how much money can be made in wholesaling and knowing that it can be a low-risk technique that they can now use to potentially, create extra income that they can buy their time.
I'll start from the lowest to the highest. My lowest wholesale check was $250.
Okay.
I'll take it, $250. I didn't have $250 before that. I have $250 more now. My biggest wholesale check, one wholesale check, was $101.
That's $101. So $250 to $101?
$101,000, yeah. Six-figure wholesale.
Okay.
But you said in a 90-day period. That's too large of a number for me to try to.
Okay. We ain't trying to count up. But just know that receipts are there for anyone looking to get into wholesaling. Receipts are definitely there.
Double closing, so you know the receipts is there.
Beyond paperwork. So for me, I just piggyback. My lowest wholesale deal, which was actually my third wholesale deal, was for $333. 333. Yep. So, and then for the 90-day period, we generated over 6 figures in wholesale proceeds. So about $100K plus.
Okay.
$525 or something like that.
Better than us.
It's funny how we all remember that number specifically.
Because there's a lesson behind it. That's why.
But I'll say this: all of those small deals, they do add up. So if if you get that one big deal, but then you don't close anything for 6-7 more months, you have the volume. But the largest deal that we actually transacted was over $70,000.
Wow.
One deal.
Wow.
The smallest deal I ever got was actually my first deal. It was $2,000, smallest wholesale check I had. The largest one I did was actually one that me and Sion did that actually beats what he did by himself. It's $125. We did a wholesale deal for $125.
So the power part.
It's been pending.
Access in a couple weeks.
I will. No, we're going to lunch. But no, actually, so my smallest wholesale deal, and I needed that at that time. It was like $700, and the guy gave me cash because it was a JV, a joint venture deal. The guy gave me cash, but would y'all not believe I went out, I celebrated. And of all times, that was the day I got robbed
For real?
And I had cash in my wallet. And I was like, I needed that. And I just, like, it's blood, sweat, and tears to close these deals.
Yeah.
And I finally did everything to close the deal. My cut was like $700. I was like, yes. And I was like, let's go to IHOP. We go to IHOP.
Oh, man.
They popping cars.
No.
In the IHOP.
Oh, you left it in the car.
I left my wallet. My wallet fell out, and we got robbed. And I was, because at least on your card you can put in a claim or get it back. But so I didn't. I say my least amount. I mean, considering my cash was gone, I pretty much transacted the deal
forget
for
that
free.
first deal.
Except for the 20 I took to pay for my IHOP. So yeah, but what are some of the bummers that you guys have had in wholesaling that made you feel like you were gonna quit?
Man, I'll tell you, I had 4 deals lined up to close. They were all nice deals. I was direct to seller, just me, myself on all of them. So a lot of times we JV deals, joint ventures, Jessica said, and the majority of my deals are all joint ventures. Even like that biggest deal that I just named, that wasn't 100% me. That's why I said we. However, every one of those deals fell through. Not one closed. So as 2 fell through, I'm like, okay.
I got 2
I got 2 more, right? And then the other one didn't go through. I'm like, okay, I got 1 more. That's when I started getting a little nervous. Then when the other one didn't go through, I was like, oh man, like, really? So it's like a 5-week because sometimes. Yeah. So that was one of those ones you're like, okay, 4 deals about to close, like back to back, week after week after week.
And none of them. How have y'all been able to survive?
Well, I trust the process, as you do trust the process as well. When things go astray, you just gotta pick it up and go back at it again. Just like you said, you never put all your eggs in one basket. You never trust one deal. You don't count your money until it is in your account. You don't count your money until I cash it out of my account.
Yeah.
so I still don't even trust the bank. But I've had some really interesting wholesale deals. Oh, one really interesting one. This homeowner, he fraudulently signed deeds over to him from about like 5 or 6 properties. And he had some notary sign it, and I got right to closing, and of course, as your attorney is running title, because you have to run all the background checks on the property, see if there's any liens on this, see if there's any encumbrances. So they ran title on this, and the deeds looked funny. So this attorney was like, no, let's double check this again. And it was right the same day of closing. It was like, okay, maybe come back tomorrow. Man, that was a good 5 deals. I was about to rack up. But good thing it didn't go through, because then I would have been held liable for falsified documents and stuff like that. Even though I wasn't the one that did it, it was a homeowner that did the homeowner that did it. But man, you got to be careful. You got to trust them. You got to be careful who you trust in this game.
So ironically, I actually have the continuation version of that story. So I had a homeowner, did the same thing. We had 4 deals. They went through, and he had, let's say the LLC was called 123. 123 LLC. He put 123 LLC dot. And the attorneys didn't catch it. Now, fortunately, I had title insurance, so I wasn't held liable. But if I didn't have title insurance, they would have been coming for me for those 4 deals. They were closed, funded, everything.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a very interesting process. Fortunately, I didn't have to show up to court for nothing, and just let the title insurance companies handle that.
So what were you about to say?
Well, I was gonna say, so in terms of like bad days, and when life gives you lemons, I make lemonade. I never had a day, not even an iota of a second, where I thought like, yo, I'm about to quit and go back to like, whatever I was doing prior
to school.
Yeah. No, listen, there's only 2 things I quit on: school and my job. Everything else, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm literally all in. I've never even thought of what would it look like to just, because I want to just have full control of my life at all times. So.
And I think one key thing too, I don't mean to cut you off, but one key thing too is to always keep your pipeline full. Like you don't feel like, oh, I got all these deals lined up to close and then I'm about to just kind of sit back and then get back to it next week or the week after. You got to always just keep those deals in the pipeline, because you want to just keep your business flowing and flowing and flowing. So
I was going to say, for me, the part that was where I was about to quit was in the beginning, because for me, I was doing everything my mentor told me to do. I was making the phone calls. I was driving for dollars. I was skip tracing. I was doing it, and I was seeing people who started with me get deals, and I'm happy for them. But then, you know, you couple people get 10,000, 20,000, 30, and I'm like, yeah, like you got it. And I'm like, dang, is it gonna happen to me? Like, I'm not. It's not that I was like jealous, but I'm like, when is my miracle gonna happen? And I kept doing that thing for 6 months, and I was like, I should stop. Like, I was going back and forth in my head, and that was so for me. Even though I had other deals like everybody else, where stuff fell through, even where I lost money on stuff we had to pay. Like, it's been a lot of stuff that happened, but I always remember, if I can make it through them 6 months, I can make it now. So
what was the turning point, do you feel? Like, what was the thing that you were doing wrong that somebody else can jump in and get success now?
I wasn't doing nothing wrong, but
it's just the time.
Apparently, I must not have been going harder. I could have stayed on the phones longer, because maybe I could have did more zip codes, like put more money into marketing. I could have did more money into marketing, because maybe I missed that one lead that possibly could have been the yes, because you never know. Maybe I didn't follow up enough, because even though somebody say no, they don't want to sell, okay, can I call you back in 6 months? Maybe I didn't do that. So I'm not gonna say I didn't do nothing wrong, because obviously I was doing something wrong, because when nothing happened for me. But maybe I could have went harder.
Yeah, because that ain't nothing worse than I say ain't nothing worse than when you driving by that property you've been calling on for months and months and months, and see somebody actually
renovating it.
Out there with the dumpster. You like, what? When did
That's a testament.
I called them and I talked to them for months, and they told me no, and now.
Oh, you gotta do good cop, bad cop. Oh, me and my group were
that's a
infamous
good
for that.
strategy.
Yeah, I've done that.
We'll have one person call, they cuss us out, and then we sweep back around and get the deal.
I should have kept strategizing, man.
That response is a testament to, is Atlanta saturated? Is the market saturated? It's probably doing real estate. I was a server, so you know you get rounds on your table. As a person come in, you know, you get a table, then you get a table, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know who you're gonna get. Maybe you get the on the party crowd that's ready to spend thousands of dollars today. Then you come around, I get the one person that just want a coffee. You know,
and they take the same amount of time.
It's the same amount of time, right? But it's the same thing in wholesaling. If I call one homeowner in January, they're not interested. Real estate is an emotional game. So just because they're not ready today, keep following up. He may have called in February, they're still not interested, but they're weaning down. Now you call in March, boom, you got it. It's the same person, but you just got to stay on top of it. You have to, doing wholesaling, making calls and stuff like that is really listening, not just to the words, but listening to the emotion behind the words. So whenever I cold call, you know, and try to ease down the guard, because it's already a cold call. So let's talk about us, you know, and then from there, we'll probably have a conversation for 10 minutes on vacations. If you think about selling your home, you're going to call me.
Mm-hmm.
And which it normally does.
It's true.
Would you say that the pandemic has been a trauma for citizens around the globe?
Trauma walks with us through life, to things we see, to communities we live in, to experiences that we've been exposed to. So, you know, the pandemic kind of took all that stuff that was back there that we really haven't addressed and says, oh, well, hold up. I got another story to tell you.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. Of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Well, look, you might not be popular, but my favorite character is Celestial because
I wrote down in the book that kind of stood out to me was love is the enemy of sound judgment.
She seemed like a very needy woman. And I can't even respect Andre, because how do you prey on your friend's wife while he's incarcerated? Like, you know, I just can't get with that. And maybe I got too invested in the book, you know.
What is one key person that you guys have on your team that you feel is very pivotal? I know you mentioned attorney, and you were like, they run title. So we know that having a closing attorney is very pivotal to the team. But who else as a wholesaler is important to have on your team or within your network?
Oh, man, that's a long list. Lender.
Lenders?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, why lenders if you're a wholesaler?
Well, sometimes you may need to show proof of funds, you know, because you're still that frontline contract person. You know, depending on the size of the deal, you still may need to have some type of financial paper backing to show, yes, I can qualify to purchase this home, even though you're not actually purchasing it.
Qualified buyers.
Qualified buyers.
Big difference.
What's a qualified buyer?
So qualified buyer is somebody who actually can close on the property, take title, and actually decides to go fix up the asset, not just double close or maybe reassign the contract. So I actually learned how to rehab from one of my qualified buyers. I sold them like 5 houses and I watched them flip all 5. And I was like, you know what? On the 6th house, I want to reduce my wholesale fee just so I can watch and shadow you day to day at your job site.
So it's like a win-win scenario that worked for both him to give him extra hands, but then that's the way to bump up and take your internship to the next level.
Dope.
So you got lender, you said
Qualified
buyers, not just buyers, qualified buyers. I'll add to that contractors, which tell you, she builder, but contractors, because they can tell you whether it's going to be a lipstick project. You know, it's nothing worse than a wholesaler saying it only needs $20,000 worth of work, and you got to go rebuild the whole thing. So who else is a pivotal person on your team?
I would say you have to have a team.
Like a construction crew, a general contractor?
Well, I would say either a team or a solidified mentor, qualified mentor.
Qualified
mentor. By qualified mentor, I mean that you have someone that is actually active in the business. Someone that's closing on a consistent basis, someone that's in the field on a daily basis, someone that can really, really show you the ropes and give you that support that you need to really, really learn how to do this the right way.
So as you would say, a guru versus a guru.
Yep.
Yes.
Got it.
For sure.
Who is somebody else?
I would say as a wholesaler, you actually need a VA, a virtual assistant. You need somebody making those phone calls, somebody even pulling leads from PropStream. Like you need somebody if you want to scale so that you're not stuck in a house, you know, doing those things to get the leads. So a virtual assistant, you definitely need that.
Yeah, is this something you feel can be done virtually? Like all virtual? Like
definitely.
I'm big on driving for dollars. Like I like to touch it, feel it, see it. I like to go sell to the appointment so that I can get a contract in hand. Is this something that you guys have been able to get virtual?
Yep. Even in this market, like in our own market right now, we had a wholesale lead today. I didn't even look at it. I sent my demo crew out there to go look at it. There was demo in the house around the corner. I said, take photos and video for me.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I'm talking about, systems that win. So you know what? Today we talked about a lot of things. For one, understanding about wholesaling, understanding your team, and then understanding the mindset that helps you push past it. Do you guys have any final words or anything that you want to leave the audience with of anything that they can do to start today and nudge forward into their career?
What I would say is just start. Just do it. Stop talking about it. Get started.
Don't be afraid to fall. Losing is a lesson learned, so don't be afraid of failure.
The business works if you work. We go to a formal education school for 4 years and not make a dime, and then once we enter the marketplace, negative like $100,000 in debt, they will look to make money, but you can't come into your own business and just take the first year, you know, don't make too much money, but, you know, learn and then eventually remove the L and start earning from that point on. So it works if you work.
Jump and tackle your fears. I was a server and I quit my job the first day I heard about this wholesaling thing, and I had twins on the way. So I jumped and I put a wall of going to work. So jump and create your parachute on the way down, you know, and face your fears. If you face your fears, or all those, oh, I can't do this, or I'm not able to make this kind of money, or everything you're saying in the negative is true. So start saying the positive.
Yeah. Yeah, like my dad always says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So thanks for joining us today for another episode of Real Estate Mastery with your girl, Jessica Myers. We are here today. I am so entrepreneur podcast. We actually have a podcast where we teach these principles of how we all got started in real estate wholesaling and have parlayed it into multi-million-dollar business. Can you tell them how to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at @TheSeonJohn. That's TheSeonJohn.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Errol J. Allen, ERROL J. Allen, ALL.
You can find me on Instagram at MoHustle, MOHUSTLE_810.
You can find me on IG at I am Superstar Shauna. That's IamSuperStarShawna.
Well, you know what? If you want all the juice, if you want all the heat, be sure to follow all of us. And you can find us at 8.experience on it. So you know what? Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate it. It was a great conversation. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Estate Mastery with your girl, Jessica Myers. I am the deal maker. And as always, we create a space of complex real estate strategies so that you can simplify them with mastery. You know, you got it. Let's get it. Let's go.
Strong enough, never gave up every time I gave my all. Refuse to fall. Strong enough.
Can't stop, won't stop, keep going, don't stop.
You gotta push through. You gotta keep believing in yourself because you know you got it. So let's get it. Let's go.